All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Political Animals. This is a special episode, but before we get started, we're here today for a special episode because it seems like the people in New York have spoken, and AIPAC and all this crap that Israel's doing in Palestine, what they did with Iran, I think people have had enough of it, and the media is not being truthful about what's really going on. Right now around the world, there's a revolution of consciousness, and it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but there's a revolution of consciousness in which people are tired of our governments. We're tired of war. We're tired of what's going on in Palestine. And for what's the name of the guy who won the mayoral campaign?
His name is Zoran Mamdani.
Mamdani, yeah. This is someone who took a stance against the Zionist attack and influences in Palestine. And let's make it clear, he's not anti-Semitic as they're calling him. He's not anti-Semitic. It's just that he stands for peace. He stands for Palestine, and he stands against some of the crimes that the Israeli government is doing and that the Zionist movement as a whole has been pushing forward. Nobody's against Jewish people or Hebrew people. We're against a lot of the actions of the Zionist government. What do you think, Kulain? Give us some more background on this. Because I don't think New York politics.
Well, as Winston Churchill said once, he said, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. And this is one of those moments. Zoran Mamdani, a Muslim American, wins the primaries for the Democrat Party. Now,
in a city where it's almost impossible for you to win if you're not backed by AIPAC and the Zionists.
Yes, in a campaign where we had in a campaign where the other three candidates were very, very vocal about their undying support for Israel. And he was very vocal about the fact that he would obey international law and he would turn them into the authorities, and that his priority is to New Yorkers, and Americans.
Yes.
And let us not say this is not a religious war. There are Iranian Jews, there are Ugandan Jews, there are Palestinian Jews, there are Jews all over the world that don't support even the state of Israel more intensely than the rest of the world. This is not a religious war. That is what the Zionists are trying to use to hide behind against the Orthodox Jews and other Jews around the world. This is not a war against Jewry. Nobody has anything against them. That is the distraction, the lie that is being proposed. Now, back to this. It's only half the battle that the Democrats have picked a person that does not support or is not backed by AIPAC or any foreign lobby group. The next step is for the Republicans to do same. Ironically, they are actually just as likely to do same. All they need is a MAGA, all they need is a pro-MAGA person. But it doesn't matter in the short term whether his policies are racist or whatever. What matters is that in the short term, they remove foreign influence from U.S. government so that U.S. government can take control of itself. Whether it's for better or for worse. And that would be the beginning of the end of using racism as a divide between conservative and Democrats.
Sorry to interrupt you. You can't even do that in America anymore because a lot of Black people started voting for MAGA movement. The majority still voted Democrat, and a lot of Hispanics. So America's population is also changing, in which so many immigrants are coming in, so that it now balances things off, so that both parties have to cater to a sort of multi-cultural. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. I'll talk while he's gone. The world is moving to a point at which both parties are going to have to be eclectic and to have representatives of all types of groups, just like in the leading up to the primaries. I forgot the guy who's Indian American who did well against Trump for a little while. And you've even got Nikki Haley, who I think she's partly from India. So we're having a situation now in politics in which there's more diversity as far as color of people, because I think all of it is still the same culture. They're still Americans, and they still oppose. So what I was saying is that there's a color revolution in America in which people of color, like remember the Indian guy who was a businessman who did pretty well against Trump in the primaries. He's a tech billionaire. So my thing is that there's more diversity because there's more groups, but there's not cultural diversity because all of them are still imperialist or make America first. They don't care about other parts of the world. But so what you're looking at is racial diversity within politics and within the population, but not really cultural diversity. So the point I'm making is that just because you have Obama as president doesn't mean he's going to stand for black ethics. Obama stands for the American way, which is still capitalist. So even if you have this new guy, like the guy Mamdani, he may be Arab American, but at the end of the day, he's still American. So he's still a capitalist. But this thing with Israel, I think everyone can agree nobody's on board with it anymore. Not even far right racist people in America have a stomach for what's going on in Palestine. And even if they don't, and even if they're not against it, they're not for us spending money to continue it or against Iran just for practical purposes. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yes. Yes, my thoughts. Well, actually, the strongest base for Muslim population in America is Michigan. It's not
Michigan, yeah, and that's one of the reasons Trump won. Yeah, and they were mad about Palestine. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people. I mean,
and Wisconsin and Michigan. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, and the people are showing that they're not voting for him because he's Muslim. They're voting for him in spite of him being Muslim. That they'll vote for anyone so long as they're not supported by this foreign lobby that has been taking America into all sorts of foreign wars. So even if I was a white racist person, I'd be like, let me get a MAGA candidate who's isolationist to run against this chap. And I would be fine with that. Then I would actually have to look at the two parties critically because now these are two American parties. And I'd like to see the same thing happen in the Republican primaries. I think everything is going to come down in November. So I don't know when the Republican primaries are coming up, whether they've already had them.
But this thing in New York, it was for the mayor, right? Yeah.
Yes, it's for the primaries for the who's going to run for Democrats. It's who's going to run for the Democrats.
It doesn't matter because New York will always. But I think that in New York will always win. The Democrat will always win. But we'll see what can happen. It might be close this time.
Democrats normally always win in New York. But I mean, if the Republicans have any common sense, I would get a pro-MAGA because now you have members of the Republican Party that do not want to be part of AIPAC. So they have the weapons.
What it's going to boil down to is that, but the problem is that New York itself is what I call a liberal city. So I don't know how well they can do, but yeah, they might be able to pull it off. They might be able to pull off a good run, a Republican candidate. It'll be interesting to see when is their primary?
I would like to see a white Christian right-wing person run for
why not? Give it the balance. When are their primaries?
So that everybody can put their prejudices out in the open and then they can sort themselves out properly from there. I think that at least it's America making the decision. I don't mind that. So long as it's America.
When are their primaries?
And then they'll look at the merits and then they'll now have to look at the merits of what they're getting under these mayoral candidates, because now it will be genuine. It won't be from a position of nonsense. So therefore, because it's going to be genuine, you're going to see people voting based on the merits rather than the appearances. Not completely. It's not going to be like overnight. It'll be gradual.
But I would say this guy, this Mamdani guy they said he has socialist leanings, which is good. I like that.
Democrats supposed to have socialist.
I like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a good thing. So I think he should be able to win in New York because I think the cost of housing, New York is getting expensive for a lot of people and they're having to leave. So something needs to be done. And then Biden made the big mistake of Eric Adams. Even though I didn't like Adams, he was the black guy. He used to be a police chief. He pushed the guy under the bus because the guy wasn't supporting his immigration task. He was saying that there's too many immigrants coming in New York, and he got Eric Adams to step down on corruption. Come on, every mayor is corrupt. You understand what I'm saying? It was politically motivated to bring him down. And then Cuomo tries to come back. No. All right, so
but I think MAGA can save the right because there is a strong element in MAGA that can be anti-AIPAC. So it's not going to be straightforward.
But my argument is that MAGA can save the right, but I don't think MAGA can ever win in New York City. That's the point. But the country's a good country.
Yeah. Yes, not now, not for now. But
I think the MAGA is going to win the next couple of elections because unless the Democratic Party shifts more to the true left. You get my point. And they start caring about the poor, caring about people in the Midwest, in the farming states who are not doing well. Because it seems like the Democratic Party is an elite party. You know how when you're in Lagos, I only hang out in VI. I don't go to mainland. You get my point? So the New Yorkers see the rest of America as mainland. So the people in mainland will be like, all these boys in VI, they think they are special. So that's why one of the reasons people don't vote for the Democrats, because the Democrats seem to be charlatans. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. You know, there's a funny thing.
That guy actually has to work for a living. Ew.
You know, there's a funny battle that's been going on between the Conservatives and the Labour Party. Both of them have been
Yeah.
arguing that they formed the NHS, the National Health Service, and Labour said they're the ones that were they are the ones that are the Socialist Party. That of course it was them, and the Conservatives are saying, of course, it was us that actually enacted it into law. And the funny thing is that it's a purely socialist thing. So both parties will have to reinvent themselves because a lot of the policies that made Republicans unpopular were based on Apex game that they played to portray the Republicans as a certain set of people and play them against the Democrats in order to make sure both people play within certain rules so Israel benefits. Now everybody is free to look at their proper manifesto and ideology of what they want to do to make New York a better place or America a better place. And that should be more objective.
You know what it is? This is the end of the neoconservative era. Both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are really neocon. The vision that Bush and Reagan brought in which we have all these wars in the Middle East, control oil, and support Israel. That's the main facet of neoconservatism is to support Israel because that's the only way you can keep the Middle East unstable and control their resources and stop BRICS from growing. But America's looking in because we have to look in. It's not that we're intrinsically against imperialism, but we're realizing it doesn't work and we have to eat. So both parties are going to have to move more towards, the Republican Party has always been closer to the rural folk than the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party is going to have to move. But at least they're making a good step by these guys like Mamdani winning in New York, who tends to be socialist. So what you're going to see now is the fight between socialism and then right-wing agrarianism. But notice that socialism doesn't really clash with that. So the only thing where the Republicans and the Democrats really clash on is on abortion and on gay rights and things like that. You understand what I'm saying? So but it's going to be interesting to see how both parties dance because if the Democratic Party doesn't change, they're going to lose a bunch of elections. And if Trump moves away from his base in the MAGA too, he's going to lose political power. So they need to listen to the MAGA movement. Do you remember the Tea Party movement with Sarah Palin?
Yes.
The Tea Party to me is actually the precursor to the MAGA. It's the same type of movement. It's a homeland movement of the people. And they're against sort of like over-industrialization or over-imperialization. So that's all I have to say. I'm rambling. But what are your last thoughts? Yeah.
Yes, my last thoughts. It could be a brand new world for America, but it could be a dangerous world for America because as we know, Israel is the baby of the Zionist entity that owns all the banks and all the money in the world and all the media in the world and all the power. And that is always going to be a formidable opponent, even if you are America. But the American people have stood up. At least they've woken up. People are beginning to wake up and flipping the script overnight because I know how I felt about Israel before October 7th and how I feel now has completely changed. I'm not Muslim. I'm not personally a socialist. I'll be the sort of person that almost a black Republican I could be. And now I've completely, what's my problem? If you're doing okay, why do you have to?
I'm really laughing because I'm thinking of Ben Carson. Remember Ben Carson?
Okay. Oh, yeah. So, it's totally flipped. I feel like I've been led astray with a lot of nonsense for a long time. It feels like as if the lid has been taken off the Truman Show, and we suddenly see reality from a totally.
You're a black, the black Republican. I tend to be more of a black Mussolini. Because Mussolini was so. It's a weird combination of socialism and fascism. You need the fascism to force people into socialism. You get my point?
Yes, the more, you could call yourself Republican, you could call yourself Democrat, but at the end of the day, so long as both of them are looking towards a commonwealth.
To be honest with you, I support the Green Party in the U.S., the Green Party.
Yes.
But you don't have a lot of power.
Yes, but to be honest, there's been a little bit too much capitalism in the world and too much money is in too few hands. It needs to spread out like it was in the 60s, 50s to 70s. There was a good spread of wealth, and that was when everyone could buy a house. That was when most people lived.
You remember in Nigeria when your parents gave you $5 to go to school? That money will last for a week.
Yes, you can't have a thriving middle class without some socialism. It's impossible. What happens is the middle class suffers And so you have to strengthen that class. And only like America needs it. It needs healthcare and all sorts of other things that this money from these wars can be used to do and don't need to go outside to be wasted on
especially to be wasted on bombs killing Palestinian kids. Especially that makes it
yes,
doubly
I
worse.
mean it could be better spent on Americans in America and on good relations with other countries. And America still has the lead that if it restores good relations and looks to the Commonwealth of other countries, people will actually willingly follow the model of democracy if it appears to be genuine. But if I see American democracy take back itself from this foreign lobby that is APAC, then there's now an argument for it. Because right now, the best argument of government right now is China. China is the most peaceful, most stable, and most prosperous nation for most of its people right now, and it's getting better, whereas America is falling back. So if democracy needs to show that it's thriving, that it's just and fair and prosperous, and that if there's something bad in it, it can spit it out and start again. And that's what this is. This is a seed in the mayoral primaries, not even the election, just the primaries for one party that till now had not shown any likelihood of having anything anti-APAC in it. Because up to now, the only voices have been coming from the right in MAGA. Now this is the first voice from the left, and it's a stronger voice than from the right. So I believe America has a future.
All right, thank you, Kool-Aid. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching our show. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for some more Political Animals coming forward, where we always bring you a cynical and sometimes hopeful, in Kool-Aid's case, view of the world. I tell you what, it's hopeful now. Do you have any beer? It's not Friday yet.
No beer, no. It's a no food day for me. So I bid you adieu. I will see you on the next one. I can't wait
till Monday when I get paid, though. Okay, bye.
All right.
Adieu. Okay.